Okay, I got a couple questions for y'all. The first one, who is your Lord? What is your religion? Who is your prophet? Now, I know this sounds crazy, but if you're one of those people that have been trying to get information and you come across this, or even this. All right, take a listen.
Assalamu alaikum. I am Sister lailanasheeba, the Managing Director and Founder of Sunnahfollowers Online Islamic University. As you know, we have classes every day beginning at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we cover everything from Aqidah, which is your belief system, to Seerah, which are the stories of the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the story of the companions. Please join us every day beginning at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we are broadcasting and streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, DLive, Trovo, and Twitch. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
He was the first successor after the death of the Prophet. He was the first man to accept Islam. He was Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. Join Sunnah followers every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as Ustad Mukhtar Shahid shares his life story.
Okay, and inshallah everybody can hear me. Inna alhamdulillah wa salat wa salam ala wa rasulullah. I want to first, before we start today, I want everybody to see, for those of you on YouTube, I did post up on the community channel the new book. We're going to be continuing with this topic of allegiance, diluting Wal Bara. And this will be the second of this trilogy. You're going to have to go to Amazon.com and purchase that book. It's the same price, $19.99. It's by Sheikh Kareem Abu Zaid. And I did put a picture of the book up. It's on my Facebook group as well as the community tab. Now, I'm going to tell you guys, this second book is very, very complex. It's going to go into even more detail about that shahada, the meaning of the shahada. It's going to go into more detail covering the concept of allegiance. So you guys want to get a copy of that book, and we can go over it here together in class. It's another example as to how you can't just teach yourself Islam. You can't just buy these books, read them on your own, and think you're going to understand what's being said, because you're not. You're going to have to know the hadiths. You're going to have knowledge of the Quran, the Sunnah, and all of that to understand it. This book, this whole trilogy is a masterpiece. Like I told you guys, it's a masterpiece in my opinion. Sheikh Kareem Abu Zaid went way out in producing, writing these books. So I want everybody to head over to Amazon.com and order the book. I think I got, let me see if I got on my computer a picture as to how it looks. Let me screen share because it's different. It looks like this, but a little bit different. Hold on, here it is. I made a thing up. This is the book. Can y'all see it? It's the Diluting Wal Bara. This is the volume 2. This speaks about awakening faith in a non-faith center world. In other words, how to maintain your belief in Allah when you're living in a society, an environment where people don't believe in Allah. This book is very, very, very intensive. Okay. So, you go to Amazon.com. This is how the book looks. It's just like the blue one, except this one is red. And this is the volume 3. It says, which they like the other one, but it says volume 2 right here. Okay, Amazon.com. Please get your hands on this book because I will begin teaching it this week. But before I get into it this week, I'm going to go over the last part of the book that we're on now, which was the first of the 2. Okay, we're going to speak about the companions. Okay, and that's what the second of book on Diluting Wal Bara is about. It tells you how the companions, what Sheikh Karim Abu Zayd did was he goes into detail explaining how the companions not only understood the concept of allegiance and that shahada, but how they implemented it in their lives. Okay, so order that book, and we're going to get started on it by this week. I'm going to take you through the last, which is the epilogue of this book tomorrow. But today, what I'm going to do, because in order to go into the second of this trilogy, you really have to have a decent understanding of Wal Bara. So what I'm going to do today is give you a brief quiz. It's not hard. It's not complicated. You guys, this will be the test to see if you understand the basic concept of allegiance of Wal Bara. Okay, so this is not going to take long. So let me put it on the screen, put my quiz up on the screen. I want everybody to turn their computers on and pay attention. I want to see how well you guys can answer these questions, which you all should know the answer to them. Okay, inshallah, you guys can see my screen. Okay. First question. Diluting Wal Bara. In other words, when we talk about understanding the concept of Wal Bara, this concept connects with which of the following? Does it connect with the Tashahud? Does it connect with the Shahada? Does it connect with allegiance? Does it connect with disassociation? Or does it connect with all of the above? I want you guys to look at the question. Look at the answers, the options there. And let's see your answers. Everybody see the quiz. And I don't know what's been going on with a lot of people here, but ever since
all of the above.
Oh, who's that? Who is that? Fame?
Yeah.
Oh. Wait a minute, hold on for a second. Oh, wait a minute, hold on, guys. I got the other computer. I'll put it on just so I can see what you guys are typing in the other platform. Okay, Fame said that it goes with all of the above. What do you guys think of her answer? Do you guys?
I agree.
Okay, mashallah. Exactly. It connects with all of the above. With all of the above. How does it connect with the tashahhud? Can anyone tell us how does it connect with the tashahhud? What connection does Wal Bara have with the tashahhud? Can anyone answer?
It connects with the term wala, which is the allegiance to you're testifying allegiance to Allah and His Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Exactly, the tashahhud. This reaffirms. The tashahhud reaffirms our testimony of faith. Every time we make salat, we recite the tashahhud. And that was planned by Allah, because every time we recite that tashahhud, we are reaffirming what we believe in. We are reaffirming what our allegiance is to. So good job. So yes, it connects with the tashahhud. And how does it connect with the shahada? How does it connect with the shahada? Anyone? What connection does it share with the shahada? Good job. It's part of the shahada. That's what the shahada is not just declaring that you believe in Allah and that you believe that He's the only one worthy of worship, but our shahada also is a declaration of our allegiance. Good job. And of course, it connects with allegiance because that's what wala means. Wala is the Arabic word for allegiance. And Wal Bara is disassociation. Good job. So it's all of the above. Good job, Sister Fame. And like I said, in the second of this, the second volume of this series, we're going to go into detail showing how the companions put this concept together. Okay. Next question. Wal Bara entails disassociating from what? That it means to disassociate, to distance yourself or disassociate. You're distancing yourself or disassociating from what? What are we distancing ourselves from or disassociating from when we declare our Wal Bara? What are we disassociating from? What are we distancing from? Go ahead.
From anything that goes against our belief system, as well as whatever goes against what Allah says, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the believers.
MashaAllah, that's how we answer questions here at Sunnahfollowers. Exactly. You know, we're distancing ourselves from anything that opposes what Allah says, anything that opposes what the Prophet said, anything that opposes, that goes against us, our lifestyle, our beliefs, our morality. A lot of people ask, can we watch television? There's nothing in Islam that forbids us from watching TV. But we have to be mindful of what it is we're watching. We have to assure that what we're watching is not something that would contradict our belief system. Good job. Okay, let's look at the next question. How do you show allegiance to Allah? We spent the whole past 2 months talking about ways in which we show our allegiance and our loyalty to Allah. So what are some of the ways in which we show our allegiance and loyalty to Allah?
By worshiping only Allah.
MashaAllah, that's one way. That's the number one way. By only worshiping Him, by putting Allah as our deity, making Him our deity of worship. We don't worship anyone or anything but Him. That's one way we show our allegiance. What are some more ways we show our allegiance to Him?
By hating everything He hates.
MashaAllah, by hating everything that Allah hates, guys. Allah hates everything he made haram. So we should hate those things too. How else? What are some more ways that we show our allegiance? Come on, you guys, you let the kids answer. These are the kids answering. What's wrong with these adults that they can't get any answers in here? How do we show allegiance to Allah? Go ahead.
By practicing Islam.
Exactly. By obeying Allah, by obeying his commands, by doing the things that he commands us to do. Okay, by obeying him. He tells us to do this, then we do it. He tells us to stay away from that, we stay away from it. Good job. Brother Merard said, by not taking anyone's words or ideas over his. Exactly. That's worshiping him alone. So there's many different ways that we show our allegiance to Allah. But the question is, how many of us sincerely show allegiance? How many of us sincerely have allegiance to Allah? Most Muslims don't obey Allah. Most Muslims deliberately, intentionally disobey him, which only shows they have no allegiance towards him. Good job. Let's look at the next question. How do we show allegiance to the Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam? How do we show our allegiance to the Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam?
By following his ways.
Exactly, by following his sunnah, his example, not anyone else. And this is a big problem today, because nowadays we have many brothers and sisters who take follow what their sheikh say. If their sheikh tells them that something is lawful, they believe it. If their sheikh says something is haram, even though Allah says it's not. Let me give an example. I don't care what people say. We got to stop trying to change this religion. This is one of the signs of the last hour. There's a lot of Muslims out there trying to make haram what Allah made lawful, even when it comes to the food. Allah tells us that we can eat the food of the people of the book. We can eat their meat as long as it's not pork or killed in a way that Allah, one of those 4 categories, roadkill or something like that. We got Muslims out there who are so intent on trying to make everything haram that they're digging up all kind of stuff. I mean, come on. Not only did Allah say that their meat is lawful, but nowhere does Allah say that we have to investigate either. We don't have to go around investigating to see how they killed their meat. When the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was invited to dinner by the pagans who had just converted to Islam, they served him some meat. They just became Muslim. And one of the companions said, "O Prophet of Allah, we don't know if this meat was killed before they became Muslim. We don't know if they killed it in a way that's haram or not." The Prophet said, just say Bismillah and eat it. He didn't tell Ibn Abbas to get up and go ask them, did you kill this meat before you converted? He didn't tell him to go and ask, how did y'all kill it? But we got Muslims today that's making everything haram. You don't want people to eat from the people of the book. So you're going around digging up whatever you can dig up. Well, you know what? There's a lot of Muslims that do some filthy things too. Do you know how many Muslim-owned meat stores? Those people buy the meat from non-Muslim stores and sell it. Did y'all know that? Okay, so people are crooked. There's crooked, corrupt people everywhere. But again, and Allah knows his creation. But Allah didn't make this religion hard on us. He made the deen easy upon us. So why do we make it hard by thinking that we have to go around digging up dirt, investigating? The Prophet didn't tell Ibn Abbas to investigate. He said, say Bismillah and eat it. And that's what I tell y'all. Bismillah and eat it. You ain't got to go investigate nothing. Because like the Prophet said, you will sit around and ask so many questions until you make things haram. You know, so we need to be careful of that. This deen is easy. Stop oppressing others because of your fanaticism. So how do we show allegiance to the Prophet? By following his example, not the example of your sheikh. How else do we show allegiance to him? Anyone else? Okay, Israel said by loving him more than we love ourselves. Exactly. But that's the key. Do you really love him more than yourself? We all say we do. Any Muslim you meet, if you ask them, do they love the Prophet? They'll say, oh yeah, we do. But do they really? That's the question. Do we really love him more than ourselves? A lot of people don't. Good job. How else do we show allegiance to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Okay, Sister Khadijah said fasting. Fasting is not allegiance to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Fasting is an action of worship. And all actions of worship are for Allah, not for the Prophet Muhammad. We don't fast for the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We don't fast for anyone but Allah. So fasting is a way to show allegiance to Allah, but not to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Let's see what other answers you guys got. But by obeying him, good job with that answer, Khadijah. We obey the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and everything he commanded. That's another way we show our allegiance to him. For example, you brothers, the Prophet Muhammad told you to not shave your beards. He said, trim the mustache, but leave your beard alone. So how do you show allegiance to him? By obeying him. Stop cutting your beard. Okay. Good job. Brother Marard said another way that we show allegiance to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is by handling our hardships the way he did. Exactly. Handle the hardship the way he did. He taught us how to handle ourselves in good times and in bad times. In good times and in bad times, we should follow his example and not the example of other people. Instead of taking these celebrities and movie stars as our role models in life, you know, make the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam your role model. Good job. And also another way is by saying sallallahu alaihi wasallam after you hear his name. Okay, good job. Good answers here. MashaAllah, I'm proud of you guys. Okay, let's look at the next question. How do we show allegiance to other Muslims? How do you show your allegiance to other Muslims? What do you guys say about that one?
By defending him and supporting him.
By defending, did you say defending?
Yes.
Yes, good job. By defending your brothers and sisters in their absence. By defending them when you see other people speak badly about your brother or sister in faith, you have to defend their honor. Even if what they're saying about them is true, you defend their honor. And also defend them in real life too. If you see something happening to them, you see somebody transgressing them, you should try to protect them and defend them. Good job. How else do we show allegiance to other Muslims?
By giving them the greetings when you see them.
Good job. That's the number one answer right there, by passing the greeting of Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah to each other. This is something that we don't do enough of today. And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us by spreading the greeting, it will also instill love in our hearts for each other. It'll bring us closer together and cause us to love each other. How else do we show allegiance to other Muslims?
By treating them the way you want to be treated.
Good job. And we spent a whole week here talking about how the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, want for your brother what you want for yourself. That's the meaning of that hadith. That hadith doesn't mean give people money. It's talking about how to treat others. Treat others the way you want them to treat you. You don't want anyone oppressing you, so don't oppress them. We spent a whole week discussing that, how that's one of the best ways to instill allegiance with each other. How else? Any other answers? MashaAllah, you guys did very, very good. Very, very good. Let's look at the next question. This is a scenario. Abdul saw a black man steal a television from a store. The Arab store owner approaches and asks, did he see who took the television? Rather than see a fellow black man arrested, Abdul lied and said, no, he did not see what happened. What problem does Abdul have regarding Wal Bara? What's wrong with this? What's wrong with this scenario of Abdul? What problem does he have with allegiance and disassociation?
He's showing allegiance to a race, and it's not distancing himself from that. If he see it wrong, he's supposed to speak on it, whether it's a race or not.
Good job. Perfect answer. Exactly. Remember, guys, when we this is something that I have to even tell some of my family members. We have to let go of that tribalism and racism and nationalism. We'll never have a true understanding of the concept of Wal Bara if we're still holding on to race and nationalism. You know, our allegiance is supposed to only be to Allah, to the Prophet, and to the Muslims, not to a race, not to a nationality, not to a flag, not to a color of the skin, not to a country. Like she said, if you see something wrong, we're supposed to try to stop it or change it. Remember, Allah says, stand up for justice, even if it's against yourself, even if it's against your relative. Like the Prophet said, even if my daughter Fatima stole something, I'd have to take her hand. So Abdul has a problem. You know, he has misplaced allegiance, and a lot of Muslims suffer with this. A lot of us cannot stop celebrating holidays. Why are you celebrating Christmas? Why are you celebrating Thanksgiving? Why are you celebrating New Year's Eve? Because you still have the Jahiliyyah in you. You still have pre-Islam in you. You still have not grasped the concept of allegiance and disassociation. Those non-Muslim holidays should not be of no value to any of us because our allegiance is not to those things anymore. We have no allegiance to the pilgrims. We have no allegiance to the Indians. We have no allegiance to the flag. We have no allegiance to that stuff anymore. So we shouldn't want to participate in those holidays, period. We have our own culture, our own holidays. Islam is not just a religion. It's a way of life. It's our culture. And our two holidays are the Eid al-Adha, Eid al-Fitr. That's it. We don't have anything else. We do akikahs for our babies, and that's it. Okay? So a lot of Muslims are like Abdul. They have misplaced allegiance. We have to get that together. We have to work on that as a nation. Good job, Mina. Okay, let's look at the next question. Good job, Sakina, too. To establish the correct allegiance and disassociation, one must master which of the following things? Is it love and hate for the sake of Allah? Or is it kindness and compassion? Or is it the ability to give and receive? Or is it all of the above? What do you guys think? To establish the correct allegiance and disassociation, we must master which of the following? What do you guys think? Any answers? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Saying that. So I'm just going to go with my first mind and just say love and hate for the sake of Allah.
Okay, she said love and hate for the sake of Allah. Do you guys agree? Sakina says it too. Everybody agree with them? MashaAllah, this is the correct answer. Exactly, guys. And we spent 3 weeks talking about that. Love and hate for the sake of Allah. Until we can master that, we'll never master the concept of allegiance and disassociation. This is what makes people fall into that race thing. This is what makes people celebrate holidays. This is what make people, have misplaced a loyalty, is because they have not mastered loving and hating for the sake of Allah. Good job, Jamila. Okay, let's look at the next question. What does it mean to love and hate for the sake of Allah? What does it mean to love and hate for the sake of Allah? Who can break down the meaning of loving and hating for the sake of Allah?
To hate everything he hates and love everything he loves.
Okay, what do you guys think about her answer? She said to love and hate for the sake of Allah means to love everything that Allah loves and hate everything that Allah hates. You guys agree? Give me an example. Yes. Give me an example of loving for the sake of Allah. Who can give me an example of loving for the sake of Allah?
I'll give you an example as far as in, like, say, for instance, this brother, he talks a lot. He does all kind of different things, but he still does all his obligations with the pray, fast, and do all the things that Allah commanded him to do. So you should try to love him just for that and not love him because he has a big mouth, kind of like give him the excuse for him having a big mouth.
Exactly, guys. Loving for the sake of Allah means that we take that personal stuff out of it. You look to see the good in your brother and sister in Islam. You know, you may hate something about them that Allah loves. You know, the fact that this brother talks a lot. Well, but look at him. He's a good provider. He's a good maintainer. He even goes to the mosque and performs his prayers. So I'm going to overlook those personal, look to see the good in him and love him because of the good that's in him. This is what the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was able to do, and the companions. We're going to talk about that in this next book, the second volume, the second Diluting Wal Bara. This is what it's going to focus on. It's going to focus on how the companions implemented this allegiance and disassociation in their lives, and which is why they are the best humans ever created. They're the best human beings ever created, because they were able to put aside their personal likes and dislikes and instead like what Allah likes and dislike what he disliked. Subhanallah. What's an example of hating for the sake of Allah? Give me an example of hating for the sake of Allah. I'll give you guys a good example. I was engaged in a conversation earlier today with another person, and that person brought up some person's, one of those famous people's names. And I said it. I said, I hate that person for the sake of Allah, which I do. And she said, that's strong. She said, this person does a lot for the dawah. This person's doing this and this person's doing that. And I said, I still hate that person for the sake of Allah. And she said, why would you hate this person? He's doing it. He's all on TV. I said, because all that so-called knowledge he has, all the so-called good that he's doing, he still misrepresented his community. He still stole the money of his community. He still abused some of the women in his community. And Allah hates that. Allah hates for a person of authority, a person that's in a position of authority, to use their position in a bad way, to steal from others, to rape others, to abuse the trust of others. I hate him for the sake of Allah. And in my view, he should not even be holding any type of position of authority because he abused it. That's an example. And when I said that, the person I was talking to shut up. And that person said, wow, I didn't think of it like that. I said, yeah, how can you still support this person? You know this person did what they did. And you still are sitting here singing this person's praises? What would the Prophet have said? Would the Prophet have allowed a man like him to keep his position of authority? Umar removed people for that. So here's a man in a high position who's let down his community, let down his people, betrayed their trust. I hate him for the sake of Allah. The person shut up when I said that. That's an example, because sometimes, oftentimes, especially in the day and era that we're living in today, we get so caught up in these famous personalities. You know, oh, he speaks so well. Oh, he's so handsome. Oh, he's doing this. Look what he did. Yeah, look what he's doing. Look how he's abusing his authority. Do you think Allah likes that? All those good deeds he's doing is null and void. Do you guys know that whenever we deliberately, intentionally disobey Allah and violate transgress the limits of Allah, your good deeds are not accepted? I said, so whatever this person's doing, that person's doing it to be on TV. It's all about the fame. It's all about the money. Allah hates that. So I hate it. I don't want to hear about no good that somebody's doing when they sitting there abusing sexually and financially abusing their community. I'm sorry. God don't like ugly. I don't either. That's an example of hating for the sake of Allah. It's just like loving for the sake of Allah. Loving for the sake of Allah, you got to look beyond the surface. You got to put aside your personal likes to see the good. The same with hate. You got to put aside those sparkly things that can delude you and look beneath the surface and see the horrible things that person is doing that Allah hates, the oppression they're doing, the harm they're causing, and hate. It's the same. It's easier to love for the sake of Allah than it is to hate. Allah hates everything he made haram. He hates rape. He hates lying. He hates cheating. He hates oppression. He hates showing off. We have to hate all those things too. Okay, so that's an example. So until we can master, loving and hating for the sake of Allah, guys, we're never going to fully understand or implement the concept of allegiance and disassociation. And what about this? The last question. We talked about how once a person does master loving and hating for the sake of Allah, his allegiance and disassociation will fall true. And that person can then experience the sweetness of faith if that person has certain other qualities. So that brings us to the final question. How can a person taste the sweetness of faith? Who can answer that? Because that's what happens if you truly understand the concept of Wal Bara and you're living it, implementing it. You can taste the sweetness of faith. How? Who can answer that? How? And that's a hadith. I'm sorry, guys. I had to get my Starbucks. And that's a hadith I told you guys to never forget. Latifa, you should know this hadith because we were made to memorize it. I memorized this hadith when I was 12 years old. How can a person taste the sweetness of faith? Come on, guys. Every Muslim on this planet should know this. This hadith goes hand in hand with the hadith of wanting for your brother what you want for yourself. Y'all don't remember it?
In order to taste the sweetness of faith, you have to love Allah and His Prophet more than anyone and anything. And you have to love other Muslims for the sake of Allah. And you have to hate the idea of ever not being a Muslim.
Exactly. Those are the three qualities. Y'all need to write them down. How can you be a Muslim and not know that? You know, you have to love Allah more than anything. And you have to hate even the idea of never being a Muslim, of not being upon the truth. Let me see what they put here. Allah and his, good job. Allah and his messenger must be dearer to you than anyone or anything. Good job, Sakina. Love for the sake of Allah and then hate even the idea. Good job. That's how you taste the sweetness of faith. And that's the question that we all need to ask ourselves. Do I love Allah and his prophet more than myself, my children, my family, my life? Do I hate the idea of never, ever being a Muslim? Do I look at others and love them for the sake of Allah? Am I able to set aside my personal dislikes? That's something that we all struggle with. Yes, you may end up loving Allah and the Prophet. That's what I do. I mean, I love Allah and his Prophet more than anyone or anything. That's why I'm by myself. That's a fact. Okay? And I've never not been Muslim, and I can't even imagine and would hate to think I wasn't one. But the thing I struggle with is being able to love for the sake of Allah, because it's the human nature. We're criminal by nature. It's our nature, to look at things on a personal level, to dislike on a personal level. So that's something that I struggle with. A lot of us may have one or two of those characteristics, but if you can have all three of them, oh my God. That's a strong person there that can have all three. So, mashallah, that's my final exam for this book, the first volume of Diluting, Wal Bara. Now, what I want you guys to do, let me put it back up on the screen. I want everybody to go tonight. Go to Amazon.com. And y'all need to get the second volume of this book. Hold on. In fact, I got a picture of the book because I took a picture of the book when I made the thing. Hold on. There it is. This is the second of the book. It's very, 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 very complicated. You're not going to be able to read this book on your own. You buy this book, you need to come to my classes because I'm going to have to break it down to you. This is volume 2. This book, the second volume of Diluting Wal Bara, this speaks about how to live in a non-believing society. And it's going to use a lot of examples from the companions. So the book is on Amazon.com, and it's written again. This is by Sheikh Kareem Abu Zaid. It's probably the same price, $19.99. It's very hard. This book is very complicated, I'm telling y'all. But you guys should be advanced from coming to my class because I taught you guys the first of this trilogy. How do I put this down? I taught you the second. This is the third. This is very difficult. But I think you guys are ready for it. My students, I know you're ready for it. Okay? The first book was Get to Know Your Lord. That broke down the first part of the Shahada, of what we believe in and what contradicts it. We talked about the Mu'tazila, the Kharijites, and all of that. Then this is the second of the trilogy. This goes into the second part of the Shahada, which is allegiance. The third part, oh my God, this book is dynamite, but you need a person of knowledge to explain it to you. So buy the book, and we're going to start it. I'm going to start it tomorrow. But make sure you guys go to Amazon.com to get it. And I did put my little stuff up. Where's the other thing I made? Where's my? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's it. It's the red one. Yeah. All right. Okay. Any questions or comments? Okay, I want you guys to stick around. I'm getting ready to log out, but I'm getting ready to log back in because Mukhtar, my cousin Mukhtar, he was unable to do his class yesterday because he had something to do on the life of the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He's going to do it today. In fact, he's going to do it in 10 minutes. So I'm going to log out just to reboot this so I can separate his class from mine. And then I'm going to log back on, and he's going to do his lecture on the life of the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And also at 9 p.m., I'll be giving you part two of the story of Fatima radiallahu anha. This one here. This one.
She was the daughter of two of the most perfect people ever created. Her mother was the second most perfect woman created, only second to Mary, the mother of Jesus. And her father was none other than the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself. Join Sunnahfollowers online as Ustada lailanasheeba takes us on the journey of the woman known as Fatima, the daughter of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Okay, so I'll be doing her story at 9, but I'm getting ready to log out right now, and I'll be logging back on in 5 minutes, guys, for Brother Mukhtar's class, inshallah. So I'm logging out now, but I'll be back on in 5 minutes, inshallah. So just stick around.